Hello, everyone. Welcome to the News Browse News broadcast. South Korean stocks experienced a remarkable surge on Wednesday, with the benchmark Korea Composite Stock Price Index, KOSPI, climbing nearly 6.5%, or 447.67 points, to close at a fresh record high of 7,384.56. This marked the second largest daily gain in terms of points in history, according to UPI. The rally was primarily fueled by a strong performance in the semiconductor sector and renewed optimism for a potential peace deal in the Middle East, particularly regarding the Strait of Hormuz. The local currency, the won, also strengthened against the US dollar, closing at 1,455.11. Foreign investors significantly boosted local shares with 3.1 trillion won in purchases, while institutions and individuals were net sellers. Major tech companies like Samsung Electronics, SK Hynix, and SK Square led the charge, with Samsung Electronics alone surging 14.41% and pushing its market capitalization above 1.5 quadrillion won, making it the second Asian company to surpass the $1 trillion milestone. Conversely, shipbuilding and defense shares saw declines. Al Jazeera reports on India's Manipur state, where a bloody ethnic conflict between the predominantly Hindu Meitei community and the mainly Christian Kuki-Zo minority has endured for 3 years, claiming over 250 lives and displacing tens of thousands. The violence, initially sparked by a court recommendation regarding scheduled tribe status, has mutated into a complex multi-actor conflict where assailants often remain unknown in over 12,000 police reports. This lack of official attribution has led to zero convictions, fueling anger and anguish among victims' families, who sometimes delay funerals awaiting justice. Security officials note the challenge in identifying perpetrators due to fragmented armed groups and village volunteers, many of whom are operating independently. The crisis is exacerbated by thousands of looted firearms still in circulation and weapons flowing across the porous India-Myanmar border. Critics, including former Federal Home Secretary Gilpie Play, attribute the government's inability to resolve the conflict to a breakdown of political direction and political considerations, suggesting a reluctance to expose the truth. Meanwhile, internally displaced people in relief camps face dire conditions, and aid workers warn of a generation of children exposed to violence and radicalization risks. Al Jazeera reports that Jordan has conducted airstrikes targeting Captagon production sites in Syria's southern Suwayda province, highlighting its emergence as a major hub for the drug trade. This shift comes after the fall of the Assad regime, with Suwayda now largely outside government control. The province's isolation has allowed militias linked to influential Druze leader Sheikh Hikmet al-Hydri to reportedly establish drug manufacturing labs and smuggling rings. Jordan views the growing Captagon prevalence as a national emergency, and these preemptive strikes, coordinated with the new Syrian authorities, aim to secure both nations' borders and national security. Analysts suggest these actions send a strong message to regional actors, including Israel, about Jordan's commitment to border stability. The situation remains volatile, with criminal elements incentivized by the lucrative trade, posing a significant challenge to post-Assad Syria's stability. According to the Canadian press, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi conveyed to his Iranian counterpart, Abbas Araghchi, during a meeting in Beijing on Wednesday, May 6, 2026, that China is deeply distressed by the ongoing war, which has now lasted more than 2 months. Wang Yi underscored the urgent necessity for a comprehensive ceasefire, stating that a resumption of hostilities is unacceptable. He further highlighted the critical importance of remaining committed to dialogue and negotiations to resolve the conflict. This meeting marks the first visit of the Iranian foreign minister to China since the war with the U.S. and Israel began on February 28. Top women's tennis players, led by world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka and supported by Coco Gauff, have threatened to boycott the upcoming French Open over prize money disputes. This action stems from a collective statement by several leading players expressing dissatisfaction with the prize money distribution at Grand Slam tournaments, feeling that players receive less than 15% of tournament revenue, falling short of their demand for 22%. Sabalenka stated that a boycott might be the only way to fight for players' rights, emphasizing that the show and entertainment of the tournament depend on the players. She expressed hope for a positive resolution through ongoing negotiations. The article from Al Jazeera highlights that despite a 10% increase in the overall prize money pot for this year's French Open, it still lags behind other Grand Slams like the US Open, Wimbledon, and the Australian Open in terms of total payout. Gauff further suggested the formation of a players' union, citing the WNBA's recent collective bargaining agreement as an example of successful union action. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.